Hi, thanks for joining me. We're going to do some light stretching and then a bit of meditation. So let's get right into it. We'll start standing. So go ahead and come onto your yoga mat or your space. And we're just going to start out with taking an inhale, bringing the arms up overhead. And then exhale, forward fold. Hands can come out to the side or through heart center. And then let's hang here in a little ragdoll forward fold. So feet are about hip width distance. You can grab for opposite elbow, let the head and torso sway side to side. You can also play around with interlacing your fingers and placing them at the nape of the neck, elongating through the neck. Not pulling so much, but just bringing the weight of the arms through the hands onto the neck. You can also do a little shoulder expansion, interlacing the fingers behind the back, letting the hands fall up and over towards the floor. Let's take one more inhale here. Exhale, release out of the mouth. And then slowly let go of the arm variation you have and bend the knees, and we'll unfurl the spine, coming all the way back up to standing. Head comes up last. All right, from here, your feet can be about hip width distance, or you can walk them together into center. And we'll inhale again, bringing the arms up overhead. This time, grab your left wrist with your right hand, and then we're going to bring the shoulders down away from the ears, but elongate the back of the neck. Take a little inhale in, and then exhale up and over to your right. We'll breathe here for just a couple of breaths, a little side body stretch. One more breath in. And then on your exhale, let's come back to center. Bring the arms down to the sides. We're just going to shake out the arms a little bit. Let that go. You can wiggle through the shoulders if you want. And then let's go to the other side. So inhale, arms up. This time grabbing your right wrist with your left hand. Again, let's take a moment just to bring the shoulders down away from the ears, elongating through the nape of the neck, rooting down through the feet. A little inhale here, lifting the hands up. Exhale up and over to your left. And again, we'll take a few breaths, keeping that length in the neck, reaching out with the hands, but still rooting the scapula down and onto the back. One more inhale. Exhale back to center. Arms come down by the sides. And then now let's just rotate the shoulders back. Up and back. Up and back. Keeping that length in the neck. Feet are rooted on the ground. And then let's go forward. Making some shoulder rolls here. Let's do one more. All right. And then let's get into the legs a little bit. So if you need something to stabilize while you balance, go ahead and go up next to the wall or a table. But we're going to do a little quadricep stretch. So grabbing for the left foot, bending the knee, and then we're going to sort of bring the knees back together, not fully to touch, but so the knee isn't out toward the side so much. And then from here, you're going to bring your navel towards your spine a little bit, and then press the hips slightly forward so you can feel a little bit of this stretch along the front of the hip into the front of the thigh. Let's take one more breath here. And then on your exhale, bring the left ankle toward your right knee, and then sit back into this figure four. So again, you can grab for a wall. I like to place my hands onto my knee or my thigh and my ankle, but I'm not pushing too much into the joint. It's more just to stabilize. We have length in the spine, length in the back of the neck. We're taking one more inhale. And then exhale, release, coming back up to center. And then again, you can kind of like wiggle it out through the legs a little bit. It might feel funny or look funny, but it's okay. Just moving out through the thighs. And then we'll go on to the other side. So doing quadricep stretch here, bending through the right knee, grabbing for the foot, using something to help you balance if you need, bringing that heel towards the glute, engaging through the middle of the body, bringing the navel toward the spine, and then elongating, opening up through the front of the hip and the thigh. One more breath in. And then on your exhale, swing this right foot around, ankle toward the thigh, figure four. So sitting hips back. Here we're opening up that outer glute, Really good just to do a little bit of movement and light stretching before you go into your meditation. It can really help with having less pain and a little bit more openness and flow in the body while you sit. One more breath in. And then exhale, release. Foot to the ground again. If you want to wiggle it out, wiggle it out. And then we'll come down to a seat. So meet me in a seat. I'm just going to adjust my camera here. So now we're in a seated position, and let's come into a butterfly. So you can bring your soles of your feet to touch, knees out to the side. You can have them as close in or as far out as you would like. I always like to go a little bit further out. And then from here, let's take an inhale in. Again, elongating the spine up toward the sky. And then as we exhale, let's bend forward. So here I'm bringing my elbows on the insides of my thighs and sort of pressing out. You don't have to do that. You can always bring your arms out long in front of you, bringing your head towards your heels. But my hips are extra sticky today, so I'm going to do a little more active stretching here where I'm sort of like pulsing my elbows down into the thighs so that I'm opening up a little bit more through the hips in a more active sort of way. Or you can go more passive, bringing those arms out long. Wherever you're at, continuing to breathe. We'll take one more breath here, breathing in. And on your exhale, let's come up into a seat. So we're going to sit cross-legged. You can sit hips to heels if you'd like, but I recommend just a little cross-legged. I'm not in like a lotus position. This is just sort of how my legs are in this position. You can always bring one foot sort of into the crease of the other. If you can come into full lotus and that's a new practice, go for it. But before we get started in our meditation, we're going to do a little sun salutation, but we're going to do it seated. So if you don't have much time before you start your meditation, this is a great one just to get right into if you don't have time to also do anything standing. So sun salutation is something that we do in our vinyasa yoga practice, and the main one of the main reasons why we do it is to help to mobilize the spine, and we can still do that seated. So let's take a moment here just to come into the seat, eyes open or closed. And we're going to feel for a moment the points of contact between the seat, our body, our lower body, and the floor. And then from that sort of stability, that rootedness, stabilization, we're going to feel for that elongation of the spine raising up toward the sky. Not about the spine being super straight. Please don't lock off your breathing. Try to allow the breath to flow. But as if just like a flower comes out of the soil, out of the ground, so the spine comes up and out, and then our head is like the flower bud and petals and whatnot. But there isn't so much effort in that, it's more just allowing it to sort of happen. The spine has natural curvature to it that allows it to sort of sit on the pelvis like a spring, and then the head doesn't have to work so hard, the traps don't have to work so hard to hold up the body. All right, let's just take a breath together before we get started. So exhale the air you have in your lungs. Take an inhale in through the nose. Exhale side out through the mouth. All right, we'll begin our sun salutation, and we'll go through it slow at first, and then we'll blow twice, bless the posture. As you're ready, inhale, arms up for your seated mountain pose. So here I'm going to have my hands shoulder width distance, and I'm bringing this sort of in a little bit of internal rotation into the shoulder so that the scapula can come down the back. Again, I'm lengthening through the back of the neck, head reaching up, fingers pointing up toward the ceiling. One breath in here. And then exhale for a gentle back bend, so bringing the scapula toward each other, lifting the chest, lifting the gaze, perhaps elbows bent, navel toward the spine. One more inhale. Stay for your exhale. All right, and inhale, mountain pose, arms up. And then we're going to exhale, bringing the hands towards the knees, onto the knees, and then rounding the spine, chin toward the chest. Let's take a couple of breaths here as the spine is rounded. One more breath in, one more breath out. And then we're going to inhale, lift the chest, hands to the knees, and then exhale back to neutral. Take a breath in and out. All right, continue to breathe here. We're just going to flow through that 2 more times. Back to posture. We're just flexing and extending the spine as we're seated, getting a little bit of mobility, rotation into the shoulders, which again can help our body relax a little more when we come to sit. Exhale the air you have to prepare. And on your inhale, raise your arms up, mountain pose. Exhale for your baby back bend, lift the chest, scapula towards each other, elbows bent. Inhale, arms back up, seated mountain. Exhale, hands to knees, round the spine, chin towards the chest. Inhale, lift the chest, hands to knees. Perhaps lift the gaze. Exhale, seated, neutral pose. Take a breath in and out. All right, one more time. Inhale, arms up, seated mountain. Exhale, baby back bend, lift the chest, elbows bend. Inhale, mountain pose, arms reach up. Exhale, hands to knees, rounding the spine in. Inhale, lift the chest, keep the hands on the knees. Exhale, back to neutral, seated position. Take a breath in. Out of the mouth, exhale. One more, breathing in. Exhale, breathing out. All right. So now we're seated. And I encourage you to open up your eyes. We'll just take about 30 seconds or so to orient. I have to give all of my, what is the word? Credit to my teacher, Emily, who is my yoga teacher, and she's also a somatic experience coach. And this is a practice I've learned from her, is orienting. So orienting is just looking around your space and noticing what is around you. As Emily teaches, can be very regulating for the nervous system in the sense of just reorienting ourselves to where we actually are instead of just following our habituated thought patterns and whatnot. So before I meditate, I like to sort of look around. You can look at your space, look where you're sitting. You can even look at your legs, your body. Even though everything around you might be very familiar, you can just notice how it is. Maybe you'll notice something new. I always tend to do that. Yeah, just placing yourself here. All right, and from there, let's go ahead and close down the eyes. If it's in your practice to meditate with the eyes open, then by all means, you can keep a soft gaze. But let's either, close the eyes or continue to have the soft gaze, and we'll bring the awareness inward. So we'll practice about 10 minutes sitting in our meditation. So we'll begin by noticing the physical body. And that's sort of where we're going to stay today. So this is an invitation to meditate on the sensations in the body. And one of my teachers here in Nepal, he always talks about meditation. He really wants to make it something that's not always about sitting up straight. He wants it to be something that we think about really whenever we're doing anything, which of course is going to be hard. But he really talks about this awareness of just what is actually happening with us. And so here it can be very helpful to train in a way where we are sitting up straight. People have been doing this for thousands of years, so obviously there's something to it. But just to sort of orient us a little bit to the practice, we'll be practicing awareness of the sensations in the body today. So let's just go right into it. I'll take us through a little body scan, talk us through it, and keep us engaged throughout the meditation and leave a lot of space for silence. So just as you did externally, let's internally orient the awareness. So Let's start with the points of contact with that between the body and the floor. So noticing what parts of your body are making contact with the floor. And just noticing how the body is receiving that support. The invitation here is to relax into that support, not needing to unnecessarily clench the glutes, the hip flexors, the quads, the feet, whatever is clenching. Just inviting that broad opening of the legs, the hips, pelvis rooted onto the ground. And then from there, bringing the awareness up into the abdomen, lower abdomen, back, lower back. Inviting a bit of softness, but even with a little bit of stability, right? There's always a balance there in our movement or meditation practice between this stability and softening. And from there, tracking the awareness up into the rib cage, the diaphragm, that big dome-shaped muscle in between the upper and middle lower cavity of the torso that sits right underneath the lungs and above the liver, stomach area. From there, bringing the awareness up into the upper cavity, so into the area of the lungs, the heart, the shoulders, the arms, the hands. Just noticing these areas. And from there, bringing the awareness into the neck and the face, the eyes, the ears. And again, an invitation here to feel the stability, the uprightness of the body, but also the softening around that stability. So noticing if there's areas of the face that are clenching. I know that really happens with me so often. And just again, an invitation to soften, not a demand or an expectation necessarily, but inviting the body to really feel the stability not only of the ground, but of the skeletal structure. And from there, we will practice here and practicing this sort of global awareness of the sensations in the body. Sensations can be heat, coolness, pleasant sensations, unpleasant sensations, tension, movement, gurgling. I mean, there's so many, and there aren't words for all of the sensations that we feel, but the practice here is just to notice the sensations as they unfold over time. So I'll leave us here to meditate for the rest of the time, and I'll check back in bit by bit just to keep us engaged. You notice that your awareness is caught up in the thoughts, stories, etc., etc., go ahead and bring your awareness back into the sensations that you feel in your body. Whatever feels a little overwhelming or whatnot, you can find a place of safety in the body, perhaps that feeling of the points of contact with the body and the floor. Perhaps it's the rhythm of the breath. Perhaps it's opening your eyes, those sorts of things you can always rely on. But let's continue here for a few more minutes practicing our awareness of sensations. And the thing to notice here, or to pay attention to perhaps, is uh, sort of the peak and then the downfall, if you will, of the sensation. So noticing it rise and then fall and sort of dissolve away. That won't happen with every sensation. I know there's definitely tension in my body that in this bit of time won't necessarily just melt away, but just noticing the sensations as they change as well. And if one sensation feels particularly loud, you can expand your awareness and remind yourself that you have a whole body to pay attention to. So not fixating too much on that one or two areas that feel super loud. Can definitely pay attention to them and notice, but if it feels like too much, then broaden your awareness to the full experience of the body. And continue here. And into our final minute here. So just for about another 10 to 15 breaths or so, continuing to notice the sensations that you feel in your body. All right. As you're ready, let's exhale the air we have in the lungs. Take an inhale in through the nose. Exhale, sigh it out through the mouth. Let's take one more like that. Inhale in through the nose. Exhale, sigh it out through the mouth. And then if you want to follow along with me, whenever I'm done meditating, doing seated meditation, I like to bring the soles of my feet to the mat, knees are bent, hands behind me, fingers sort of facing forward, and then just knocking the knees side to side. And if you'd like, I really like reaching this one hand up and over, maybe even elongating the opposite or the same side leg, just stretching through that side of the body. And then we can go to the other side. This isn't necessarily a yoga pose, like officially, but it's just one that feels good in the body right now for me. All right, coming back to center. If you'd like, we can just take another moment to reorient the space. So again, looking around your space, what's changed, what's new. For me, the lighting is definitely different and sounds are different. I apologize for the banging, but my my meditation teacher in Seattle, she would always say, everything is part of the practice. So hopefully that can just be a part of your practice as well. So thank you for practicing with me. Yeah, these practices can just be really helpful to bring off of our mat and integrating into our lives slowly, gently, just building our awareness to be with how things are really in the moment. And I feel that the body is such a great vehicle into the moment. So the more we can build our familiarity and capacity to be with the sensations that we feel, at least for me, it really helps me to be in the moment with a little bit more awareness and presence. So see how it goes for you. Thanks for practicing.